Welcome to another episode of Bum with a Wrench. I'm your host Daniel, and we're back here on the 65 hardtop. As I was saying before in the last two episodes where I did nothing but talk. Today we're going to be working on this. We got to get those headers in. We got to get that new transmission in. That did show up yesterday. So the transmission I got is it's a fresh build 10 years ago. So from what I understand, it was behind a 390. The motor and trans was just built. The car had a few miles on it. I'm not sure exactly why the trans and the motor came out of it. But in fact, later on, next year, probably when I work on the yellow 7-liter, I'm going to use the 390 that was in front of that temporarily in the yellow 7-liter just to make it move around. You really can't tell the difference between a 428 and a 390. They look very, very similar. So just to keep that one, going in a positive direction, I'll probably end up using that 390 that was in front of this thing. So this, it's dirty. It's been sitting around. Like I said, it's about 10 years old. So I'm going to get that cleaned up. Just basically spray that down. Take a look at the seals on that. Make sure the seals are okay or if they need to be replaced. I'll probably end up doing a pan gasket on it anyways. And I might even have a filter sitting over there for it because 10 years is a long time to sit. Seals, gaskets, that kind of stuff will go bad. And then the other thing too is I got to check the tail shaft and make sure that the tail shaft on that is the same that I have in here. From what I understand, that's a early 60s C6. So I don't know, we'll see. But this one needs drive shaft balanced anyway, so if the tail shaft on that is different, then I'll just change that when I do the balancing on the drive shaft. So, but on this, we got to get the headers in, get that transmission out, and get this transmission cleaned up. So without further ado, let's get into that. I'm just going to kind of jump into this. I'm not really going to do any high speed because this process is probably going to be done over quite a few days. I still need to stay focused on cleaning the shop. So my goal is I come in the morning, I do a bunch of cleaning, doing a bunch of straightening up, that kind of stuff. And then I'll do a little work on the car, do a little work on the 7-liter. Because remember, I still got a lot of work to do on that 7-liter. But right now it's a lot of prep work. So I'm removing the firewall insulation and painting and doing stuff with the air conditioning boxes, basically prepping everything because I don't want to bring you guys into that again until the air conditioner box is basically in the car. You guys have seen enough of that thing. I don't want to drag that thing out. It's boring as it is. I just need to get it done. So that's my plan with that. Next time you see the 7-liter, the air conditioning box and everything will be in the car, and the interior and stuff will be back in it. That's kind of where we need to be with that. I've showed you guys just about everything I can with the air conditioning on that. No need to drag that out any further. So, but yeah, so all this is going to happen over a series of days. So that's why I'm not going to really do any kind of high speed or bring you guys in. I got a lot of stuff to work on. Seems like the beginning of the year, there's just a mountain of things to do all at once. So without further ado, let me jump into this. And then I'll bring you guys back in at stopping points so I can kind of show you some of the battles, problems, that kind of stuff I have along the way. And then you can kind of see step by step how it's going. So, all right, guys, I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. A little less skin than before. Trying to get the locking So what Ford did on the manifold bolts is they put these washers and then basically they jam themselves into the manifold there, and then you bend these little ears over onto the bolt and it holds the bolt from backing out. When I was prying one of those off, the pry bar slipped. And my fingers, two of them, my middle finger and I guess the ring finger, ran across the the lid of the master cylinder there, and just, I mean, there's lots of skin missing. So it hurts really, really bad. But I got some ibuprofen 800s for my leg and my arm. So it helped out a bit. Yeah, you know how it goes. So I'm doing the mock-up because, you know, I'm not going to take all the time of blasting them and coating them and doing all this stuff if they're just not going to fit or not going to work. So with any new part, you know, mock it up first. That's what I'm doing. And as usual, one of them don't fit. The driver's side, I just can't get it in there. So what I'm going to have to do is take the bolt out of the motor mount and then lift the motor up on that side and then slip that in and then let the motor back down. I got to do it because I got to make sure everything fits and it clears and everything else, because there's no sense in going through all this if it don't work. So, but I wanted to take a second, bring you guys in here, especially because my hand hurts like hell and I got to wait for it to calm down so I can get back to work. But so I got this one in. They're real reminiscent of the manifolds, so they look really the same shape. They're dumping out in the same spot, it looks like. But again, you know, I want to fit it before I go, you know, coating them and trying to mount them and everything else. So make sure everything works. This one clears real nice. The starter goes in. Looks like everything's real good on this side. This side, you know, of course, it's got all the stuff, so we got everything basically in the way. From the bottom, there's no way for it to come up, especially with the gearbox there. So it's got to go in from the top, and I almost got it all the way in, but it's hanging up a bit. So I need, like I said, I need to take that motor mount out, rock that up, slip it in, and then I can set the motor back down. And then basically all I'm doing is I'm just throwing a couple bolts in there, like this one here, just to make sure that it, you know, it's sitting in the right spot and it looks right and everything. So that's kind of where I'm at. Everything looks to be okay. Even the one that, you know, I kind of put it next to it. So this is the driver's side and this is the driver's side manifold. And you can see how it comes out is really similar. So obviously this is a lot bigger, but you can see like this one sticks out more this way. I don't have a lot of room, so this one is the one I really need to see and make sure it clears everything. So this one's important to get in there, so that's where I'm at. But as you can see, like the manifolds, they're not bad. You know, exhaust manifolds do flow pretty well. Especially this design's not bad. Nice big open ports. It's all common. So, you know, with these individual runners, will help each cylinder with its back pressure and flow be a little bit better. If you're out there and you're shopping for headers and you see stuff like equal length is what they're talking about. So you'll notice the length on this one is long and then the length on this one's real short. Equal length is just exactly that. So they take the longest run and they make all of them that same length. And so this will come out and loop around and then go back down. They do that for flow so that everything has the same distance it has to travel, and it just flows real well. It's great for sound and flow, and you know, when you talk about sound, sound is a result of flow. And so generally if you've got like a really good sound, you know, they kind of go hand in hand. So if it's sounding good, it's flowing good. If it's all bubbly and stupid sounding, odds are it's not flowing very well. So obviously, you know, this 352 is not a high performance motor or anything. But just because it's not high performance doesn't mean that you don't take the right precautions and make sure everything is set up right. It'll just help the motor run better. So that's where I'm at. I just kind of wanted to take a second, bring you guys in, show you what I got going on. You know, this finger is leaking really bad. Missing a huge just chunk. It went kind of up in the nail. Yeah, I don't know. Got to watch injuries like that. I had a friend almost lost, you know, the whole tip of his finger because he just had like a little scratch, and then, you know, it got dirty, and he just didn't take care of it. Next thing you know, it's all black and bubbly, and yeah, you get to that point, you're gonna lose a finger. So you just keep it clean. So from here on out for the next couple weeks, I'll probably be wearing a glove, always doing Band-Aids, always do the triple antibiotic, you know, ointment stuff on there. And then just keep it clean, really. So, and then try not to hit it, because man, does that hurt when you touch it. So, super tender. But there was a chunk of skin hanging off and everything. It was gruesome. There's a blood trail leading to the first aid box in the kitchen. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. Let me get that motor mount undone. I'll slip that manifold in. We'll fit that. I'll bring you guys back in so you can see what it looks like from the top, and then how it looks from the bottom. And then the other thing that we want to check is make sure, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much, but I still want to know how the exhaust pipe, that intermediate pipe that goes between the manifold and the mufflers, how that's going to look. Odds are I'm going to have to modify it in some way, hoping, crossing fingers, that they come out kind of in the same spot, so all I have to do is chop off the flange and weld on that new flange and bolt it up. But you know, my luck isn't that good, I can pretty much guarantee it. So that's where I'm at. Give me a minute, let me get this all put together, and then I'll get right back with you guys. All right, I'm back. Got that driver's side manifold installed. Fingers are doing okay. Man, they were hurting real bad for about an hour. Haven't looked at them since, so I'll probably have to check them out and make sure they're looking okay. But yeah, this is in. Let me get you guys over here so you can take a look. So that's it. I haven't been underneath. I literally just dropped them in and then grabbed the camera so that you guys can come over here and take a look. But I mean, they're real, you know, reminiscent of the cast iron manifolds. So they come out in the same spots. They're not hitting anything. They look pretty good. So from what I can tell, all the bolt holes seem to line up on the flanges, which are good. So I think we're okay. What I had to do was take the motor mounts loose, and then I took the bolt out of the power steering, put a long bolt in, bent the crap out of it, but I'll smack it with a hammer before I go to pull it out. That way it'll just come out fairly easy. But ruined a nice grade 8. Oh well. Such is life, I guess. Let's get underneath this thing. All right. Looking pretty good under here. See, I think you guys can see both the outlets. So, see right here. So my main concern is always this side, because this side's the hardest. And it's pointing right at the steering, which is, you know, something you're going to definitely have to avoid. So the problem is going to be turning all the way to the left when that Fitment arm is all the way over like that. Yeah. Okay, well, you know, you solve one problem, you create another. So that's all the way up against the stop. Okay, let me get you guys off the stand and get you a closer look at what's going on. So you can see, that pitman arm, trying to kind of angle it. So this would be kind of right on directly to the header if you just tried to plug straight into it. So obviously what that pipe's going to have to do is it's going to have to do kind of a kickback immediately, and then probably a crush right here to clear this, as well as a turn. If I can bring it out and turn it out immediately, that's a hard bend. Of course, this side's super easy, nothing wrong with it. Exactly the way it was with the cast iron manifold, so I knew that one was going to be hard. Yeah, good times. All right. Well, I mean, everything seems to fit good. It's not touching anywhere. It's touching a little bit on that motor mount. Yeah, it's actually touching on that. I don't know if you guys can see that. Right up here. I'm gonna use my hurt finger because that's a good idea. Okay, let me get a flashlight. Oh, pile of parts. All right. So there, you can probably see that now. Right there. Motor mount's hitting. Now that motor mount is adjustable up and down. Both of them are sitting all the way down. I could try and pick that motor mount up a little bit. See if you guys can see it. Yeah, right there. Right where that motor mount's hitting the pipe. I mean, it's not a big deal. The only problem with it would be possible, vibration, rattling sound, and then eventually, two things just wearing on each other. It's going to create a hole of some sort. So yeah, okay. Now I got an idea of what's going on. These pipes are not bolted in all the way too, so it might actually have to go up. And so if it goes up just a tiny bit, it clears, which it probably does have to go up. I could throw a bolt in that back, and that flange right there in the back, and see if that pulls it up. I'm sure it does. It is really close to that though. This one's actually pretty close too. But again, it just clears right as you pull it up to the head. It got a little tiny gap. That's all you need. You don't need much. This is the discouraging part right here. Nothing really I can do about that, You got to turn the car, so, figure a way around it. So it's probably going to have to be just like a custom come down, kick back, crunched, on this bottom edge right here, custom fit to clearance the steering. That's all I can figure. So no big deal. We'll make it work. So yeah, that's where we're at. So what I'm going to do next is pull those back out. I'll get them media blasted over here in the media blaster, and then I'll set them down on some cardboard, coat them with some graphite. I don't have an oven big enough here to stick them into, so the other thing you can do if you don't have an oven like I don't, and I'm not going to take them home, is just try not to touch them as much as possible, and then let that stuff dry. Once it dries, it's kind of like paint. It'll still kind of wipe a little bit, so you want to be careful, and then drop them in there, tighten everything up, and then really, that's about it. That's really all you can do. It's good to kind of bake them for a minute if you can, because that helps just, bake that graphite on there. And then the curing process is the first time you fire it up and it gets those headers real hot, then it just turns into solid. Then they look like, well, you can see the headers that were on it. Pretty clean, not rusty. and they'll just kind of stay looking like that. So that's what graphite does. So if you guys, next time you're doing manifolds or something, try it out. It's pretty cheap, works real good, and it keeps the manifolds from looking like a rusty, pile of junk. So, all right, let me get these out. I'll get those painted up. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that transmission and cover all the little ends on it, take it outside, power wash it. What I use for that, I don't know if you guys ever use this stuff, but I use it for everything. It's this awesome, what do they call it? You can buy it at Home Depot. The stuff is awesome. That's probably why they named it that. The transmission that was in the car looked worse than this one, actually. This thing's not all that bad. The one that's in the car looked way worse than this. But all you do is you just, with it dry, just spray it down with some Awesome, let it sit, 5-10 minutes. Come back and hit it with a pressure washer. All the aluminum will look brand new. The case will actually, it'll soften the paint that's on the case, and it'll blow all the paint right off of it. And then I'll come back and tape it off and paint the case black, and then put it up in the car. And then the bottom, when I pull the pan off, I'll straighten the pan out and paint the pan, and should be good to go. So yeah. All right, let me get on this, and then I'll get back with you guys. All right, I'm back. It's a couple days later. It took quite a bit of time getting those. I hate headers. I honestly do. They're such a pain. But once they're in and they work, then they're fine. But man, getting them in, getting them to work, this thing was a pain. So I got them media blasted. I got the coating on them. They're torqued down with the keepers on them. So they're all done. Now I need to lift it up. I'm going to trim the front half of the exhaust pipe going back off. I've got some 2.5-inch stainless pipe over there that I actually bought for this car. I was going to make all the exhaust pipes myself, and then started doing it, and man, it turned out to just be a headache. So I sent it over to the exhaust shop. So I still got a bunch of pipe over there off to the side. All I need to do is just make a little connector from the collector down to the existing pipe, but I need to chop the front of those pipes off. So let me get you in here so you can kind of see what the shop is still just an absolute disaster, but I'm working on it. I do a little work on the shop in the morning, and then work on cars, because I'm still trying to make content, so it's hard to get everything done. But that's them installed. I actually had to pick the engine up, like I was saying before, on this side to fit that header in there. All of those bolts were such a pain. This side was so much easier. It turned out, just as nice on this side as the other side, but man, was it a pain. So that's it. They're all installed. Still have the transmission to do, which it's sitting over there. I'm going to try and get that pressure washed today, get some paint on the case, and that's simple. Pulling this trans, putting that trans in, really easy. So hopefully that one's good. I do want to dump. I was talking to an older a guy that I had working for me. He knows transmissions real well, and I was telling him that torque converter has been separated from the transmission and kind of open to the elements. Something you don't really want to do, because transmissions are real sensitive to dust and dirt. In fact, when you build them, they tell you to use specific rags so that the lint from the rag doesn't actually get into the case. But this transmission's been sitting open, no torque converter in it. The torque converter has just been mounted to the back of a 390. So it's just been open. So I was asking him what does he recommend for actually cleaning that. He told me gasoline. It's not as harsh as like paint thinner or like brake clean. So he's like, pour some gasoline in it, swish it around, pour it out. Make sure, you know, of course, you get all the gasoline and stuff out of it. Put a little bit of ATF in it, swish it around, pour it out. Try and get as much of that dust and dirt out of there as possible. So I got to do that still. But for now, I'm going to lift it up, chop the front of the exhaust off on the existing pipes, and then I'm going to put that up in the car, and then I'll slowly start fitting the collector to the existing pipe. So I want to do that first. I'm going to get the exhaust buttoned up on this, and then I'll probably make that this episode. Then we'll come back and do the transmission and the drive shaft, because it seems like the beginning of the year has been real hard to get content out. I know I got a lot of projects going on, but I don't know, it just seems slow. Kind of noticed that with some of the other channels too. They're not really pushing the content out like they were throughout the year, but I'm sure everyone's just getting organized for the year. But so let me get that, and I'll bring you guys back in when I show you the pipes put up there with the little extension and everything that I got going on. And then I'll bring you along for some of the welding, and then we'll do the fire up, see how it sounds, make sure it doesn't leak, make sure it sounds good. I am still waiting for the collector gasket. So the 3-inch collector from the header to the pipe has a copper gasket that goes in there, and that is, or brass, copper, I don't know. I ordered it from Summit, along with some of those Stage 8 collector bolts that are locking, so that they won't back out as well. So I'm still waiting for that to show up. I'm hoping it'll be here today. So let me get jumping on this, get that buttoned up so we can hear this thing run, and then I can edit this film and get this out to you. So give me a second, and I'll be right back with you guys. All right, guys, I'm back. Underneath the car still. So, you know, as you guys have probably figured out already, I don't like to just kind of throw things together. If it takes time to do what I think is the right way to do it, then that's pretty much the way I'll do it. And then this is the case on this part too. I'll show you here in a second, but let me just kind of walk you through what's happened. It's now, Wednesday? It's been quite a few days since I started this. The headers were an absolute bear getting those things in there. I've had worse. Every header is a bear. I don't think I've ever come across one set of headers where it was like, oh yeah, it went on so easy, you know, so much better than manifolds. No. Headers are, you know, you look up the word header in the dictionary, and it's that picture of this guy pulling his hair out. With that aside, I ran into some issues that I just don't like. So let me get you in here, and I'll show you what I got going on. So on this side here, let me just kind of show you. So the reducer that they sent me, the collector flange, they have these angles on them. And it's fine on this side, like I really kind of need it on this side. But on this side, I really need a straight. And yeah, I could make some, you know, my plan was to like have it where it was like tilted kind of up, and then it kind of swooped down and in. But I mean, it's inefficient for no reason. So I decided that I just wasn't going to do that. And then I went online and I bought some straights. But the straights aren't going to be here until Tuesday of next week. So about a week from now. And if I continue on with this video a week from now, I mean, I'm not going to be able to get any content out, you know? And so, you know, I'm trying to keep you guys up to date. One, so you don't, you know, lose interest in what's going on. And then, you know, two, you know, because, you know, people want to know. You know, I know some of these channels, I sit there and, you know, what's the update? When are you going to tell me something about it? Well, you know, I understand, you know, there's sometimes the you know, parts and that kind of stuff really kind of set you back. So in the beginning, what I was doing is I had some leftover pieces from other exhaust projects, but I didn't have any 45s. So I ordered some 45s. they came in next day, which they came in today, and I started putting them up here, and everything looked, you know, like, oh, okay, yeah, this side I can totally do it, no problem. Like it totally works. Everything, you know, looks right. You know, I just got to make a few little adjustments and blah blah blah. This side's fine. This side, no, I gotta do that straight. And I thought about maybe cutting this off and then re-welding that on, and you know, yeah, there's a lot of ways I can fix it, but you know, I want this to look nice. I mean, is it perfect? No. But you know, still, I don't want it to look like just like a dog's dinner. Just because I can't wait, you know, to get a collector flange. So that's what I'm going to do. Those will be in next week, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Well, it said between the 23rd and the 27th or something like that. I don't know. You know, hopefully it shows up sooner. You know, that's all you can do to hope. Gotta keep hope alive. But so that's what I'm going to do. I'm right there. So I figured probably what I'm going to do moving forward is pop the transmission in it. And I'll do that. I'll probably start that tomorrow since I'm waiting on the exhaust anyways. Like I said, I could go through and make my own thing. I did order a swedge tool that'll stretch pipe. Because like really that's a 3-inch collector and I need it to dip down to a 2.5. So if I cut that off, I don't have the right size pipe to be able to fill that flange. If I had that stretcher, then I would. But again, that's making all my own stuff, which I still might do, I don't know. So I ordered the tool to stretch the pipe. You know, just cheap tool on Amazon, as most all the tools in here are. You know, you don't need really expensive tools. It's not. Some things you do, you know, I will agree with that. Some tools, you know, like my voltmeter and stuff, you know, those are expensive. Some tools you really need, you know, some good tools. Other stuff, you know, Amazon, Harbor Freight, you know, whatever. So I ordered that. Maybe I'll make my own, I don't know, but I'll keep you guys up to date on what happens with that. But I figured I'd give you a little bit of an update on the 7-liter. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of work in the background on that one because I really just don't want to drag that out any longer and have you guys just sitting there watching me sand on some stupid parts and stuff. So, but this is kind of where I'm at on the 7-liter. I just shot this with clear today. So this is the outside piece. It's already been all reworked and cleaned and painted, and all the doors and stuff on the inside have been painted, and everything is. It was a pain working around this because, again, I can't separate it. So I've got one coat of clear on it. This over here has 2 coats of clear. So I did 2 coats of clear on this one. And honestly, when I look at the really expensive convertible over there, that's exactly the way it came out of the factory. That one is a little bit darker. It's a little more black. Whereas this one has got like a little more of like a green gray kind of color to it. I don't know if it's really coming through on the camera, but it's not far off. So, you know, and I'm not building a concourse car, but like I always say, you know, if you're going to put time into it, take the time to make it as nice as you can. You know, I mean, there's no hurry on that car. It's not going anywhere. I do need to get it done because I need to get onto that Camaro. You know, if I'm going to take that thing to the power tour on the East Coast this year, I got to get into that car. And it's got to be completely done because when I'm done with power tour, I have to drop it off at the owner's house back east. So it's not even going to come back here. It's going to stay out there. So I got to get that thing done. Plus the El Camino, I want to take that too. I'm going to take my buddy Jason. We're going to run the East Coast power tour. He's going to drive one. I'm going to drive the other one. We're going to have a good time, and then I'll end up bringing the El Camino back. But so that's kind of where I'm at on this one. I'm still working that part. And then all I have to do on this is just go ahead and start, you know, cleaning up and bolting the parts back on it. This thing's just about done. I need to break down. This has got a lot of the parts that I'm going to use. That's the one that was in it that I took out. So that's real easy to take the parts off, test them, put them onto this, make sure everything works properly. As far as the car goes, I got the insulation out of it. So the firewall is now back to original. What I did was, because I didn't, the insulation and stuff was cool, but it just didn't, you can't have it right here basically. So what I did was I just cut it right there on the side, right where the air conditioning box will meet up against it. And then there's really nothing much up inside there. So yeah, so this is already prepped, ready to go. I need to remove, that stupid thing, but, and I need to try and see if I can either track down another one. Hopefully the one that's in the convertible is good, so I can use that. Of course, I do need to track another one down because I am, restoring that convertible too, so I need another one. But that's kind of where we're at with the 7-liter. And the Galaxie, the hardtop. I did order the floor pans for the convertible, for the budget restoration car. Unfortunately, on the 65, 6, and 7s, they don't just sell you the entire floor pan like they do on the 64. Why they do it on the 64 and not on the, not on these ones, I don't know. I don't know. But I can tell you this floor pan is in 2 pieces. It's got an inside shell and an outer shell, and the 2 shells kind of meet each other. And so it's like a double thick floor pan. So when you order the pans, you got to order basically the top and the bottom. And they don't do the whole pan. They just do where your feet sit, basically. Underneath the seat, where your feet sit, underneath the feet in the back, and underneath the seat in the back. And then the trunk. I also got the trunk too. Now, I don't know if I need to use all of them, but I just ordered all of them because odds are I'm going to need all of them. Because like we saw in the many videos ago, it was rotted through and somebody put signs and welded and, did all kinds of craziness to it. So anyways, I ordered that. A little expensive, but such is life, I guess. I got to keep the budget on that car down. But I'm not going to give up the quality of the build for the budget. I'm keeping everything budget friendly, but if it means spending a little bit more money to make the car right, that's what I'm going to do. So that's really the first step with that car. I'm going to rip the drivetrain out of it, put the floors in it, and then from there start working the body, because the motor and trans and everything is going to be in this car. So I can work on that, make all that perfect while it's in this car. I can work on the body, the suspension. I'm going to pull all the arms off it, all the springs out of it, redo all the bushings, ball joints, all that kind of stuff. Media blast it, paint it, put it back in the car. And while I got all that apart, I'll sand the frame down and I'll paint the frame. I'll probably end up doing the frame in some kind of undercoating rather than doing it in some kind of nice paint because odds are this is not a really high-end restoration, so odds are the next person that gets it isn't going to be taking it to, SEMA or anything. So I need to build it for strength rather than looks. So I'm going to do an undercoating on the frame so that way it lasts longer and it'll look good too. So 3M makes a pretty nice undercoating that I like to use. So I'll get that done, and at the same time, of course, I'll run all brand new stainless steel brake lines, stainless steel fuel line. I'm just going to keep it all stock, so it's just going to be in the stock configuration, stock look. Everything's going to look just bone stock, except for the front. I am going to do the disc brakes like I did on my hardtop on the front of that one as well. But really, that drivetrain's not far off because it's all in this car of being done. So I just need to do some frame work, some suspension work, take the motor and trans out of this car, put it in that car, and then that car, as far as drivetrain, done. All I need to do then is just concentrate on the body. So sand the body down, do all the body work. I'm going to attempt to do that by myself. I have never done body work before, never tried to do body work before. So that is definitely going to be a new experience for me. I don't know how it's going to turn out. My plan with the car is to go black paint, black interior, black top, basically murder the thing out, black all the way around. I don't know. I know black's a hard color because it shows everything, I know enough people that are in the body and paint world to know that a paint job is only as good as what's underneath of it. So I know I'm really spending a lot of time block sanding and prepping, and yeah, so that's going to be a new adventure. I'm really excited though, because if it turns out really cool, man, I mean, that's gonna, that feeling of you know, doing something like that for the first time and having it turn out so good, you know, it's such a great feeling. Now, if it looks like a bag of crap, then I've wasted a bunch of money on paint and supplies and everything else, and I still have to take the car over and get it painted by a professional paint shop. Hopefully, I can do it myself. I'm gonna watch a bunch of YouTube videos, you know, and my plan is to build a at-home spray booth. So I have a double hoist over there. That one right there where the 57 is sitting, it's a double wide. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put plastic up. I'm gonna use magnets because the bottom of that thing is steel. So I'm basically gonna put plastic up, hold the plastic up with magnets all underneath of that thing, hang a bunch of lights, have the whole thing basically surrounded in plastic so that there's nothing, none of the paint can come out of there. And then right above that is my exhaust fan. So I'm gonna run some ducting right up to that exhaust fan and then put filters on it, of course, because you don't wanna just dump all that into the air, into the environment and stuff. So I'm gonna have big 3M filters on the ducting. And then on the outside, I have some box fans that I've made a redneck spray booth before. And basically you just duct tape filters to box fans, and then you have the box fans blowing in, the exhaust fans sucking out, and then I'll just put some lights and stuff in there, and you know, hope for the best. It should be really cool if that actually works. I think it would. I think it will. Might have to put some PVC pipe and stuff on the sides to keep the sides from, you know, bowing in when the exhaust fan turns on. That thing, it's got some suction to it. The whole roof moves when I turn that thing on. It definitely has a lot of suction to it. So, but yeah, so that's my plan. Once that car's painted, all the trim is basically there. I got to send some parts out for chrome, not too many. I got to do a lot of polishing on stainless. The interior is real easy in that car because the door panels and stuff, it's one big huge panel that covers the entire door. So you don't really have to mess around with like a painted strip at the top like some of the older cars and stuff had. Don't gotta mess around with that. The only painted part on the inside is the dashboard, and of course you do that in a semi-gloss. You know, you don't do it in that gloss because you don't want it to reflect on you. But so the interior is super easy. I'm going to keep the same seats. Just going to be the bench seat with the bench seat in the back. The convertible top frame. There's two pieces on it that are broken. But looking at it, I'm pretty sure I can take it off, put it together, TIG weld it up, machine it a little bit, and then stick it back on the car with no worries. Either that or I'll just find a couple new pieces. I don't know how hard that would be, but I'm pretty sure I can fix those. Other than that, I mean, I should be able to complete that car in a year's time. That's my goal. Along with doing the Camaro and the El Camino, I probably will not be able to get to the 57, even though I would love to take that on the West Coast power tour. Probably not going to do it. I'll probably end up taking the El Camino. But I mean, you still got to set those high goals. I'd love to take it. We'll see what happens. But I need to get that car done and sold and out of here. It's just one of those projects that just leers over top of you that you need to just get done and get out. It's helped out a lot with the parts that it's provided for the 7-liter, and it even gave me a hood and fender for this car. But it's time that car gets redone and sent on down the road. Doing a factory restoration, just factory parts, not modifying anything. The process on that is real simple. Clean it up, put it in the car, ship it down the road. When you're doing a frame-off restoration and you're doing modifications like the El Camino, it's got a lot of suspension modifications, it's got a lot of body modifications. You do all those modifications first because you're cutting, grinding, doing all that kind of stuff until you get everything exactly the way you want it, and then you blow the thing apart and make it pretty again. I don't have to worry about that on this car because it's just going all stock. So really you just start pulling the drivetrain apart, make it pretty, pull the body apart, make it pretty, put the parts back together, and you're done. You're not cutting, grinding, welding, not like that. So should be pretty simple. Anyways, that's where we're at. That's the process, you know, that I'm going to take going forward this year. I know I've talked to you guys a lot about that, but really it seems like I am just dragging trying to get this year started. So much stuff going on. I'm still trying to get the shop clean. I don't know if you noticed when I was walking around a little bit, it's quite a bit cleaner, but it's still got a long way to go. It really got destroyed in December when I was trying to get ready for the power tour. So I'm going to end this video here. We will hear this thing run. Next week when those pipes come in and stuff, I'll take you along on the ride of actually fitting them and welding them in and firing the car up. I'm just going to go ahead and off camera swap that trans. I mean, all you guys know how to change a transmission. There's nothing fancy about it. Clean that one up, put it in there, put some fluid in it, done. So I'll do that off camera. I'll bring you guys back in for the exhaust, and then right after we get the exhaust done, let's take the thing out and go for a drive, you know, see how it sounds, make sure it holds up. You know, that's the key. I want to make sure this thing holds up. It sounded great before, but then you put it on the road for an hour and it blew up. So let's see if it doesn't do that this time. So I'm going to leave you guys here. As always, you know, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all you. You know, I'm sorry this year's, you know, kind of really getting to a slow start, but the momentum's building up. We'll get going. I'm really just trying to get through this 7-liter, and then we'll get to that Camaro. I'm telling you right now, that Camaro is going to be a ton of fun. You guys are going to love that. There's so much fun stuff to do to that. It's going to go to a dyno tuner. We'll be able to see the dyno charts and stuff on it. It's going to be a blast. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so that way you can be there with me when we get into all these different things. So again, I appreciate all of you. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.